Hi everybody, this is Tina with Rehatched Designs, and this is part 2 of doing our little golden book. And I'm going to show you how to go ahead and sew in the signatures on this and gather your papers and put them in, and that's what part 2 is all about. This book is not going to be really a decorated book. It's going to be more of a blank journal. So I'm not decorating the pages before I put them in. I will probably do a little bit of decorating to it, but not very much. So it's really just going to be a lot of blank pages to use. So, and of course the pages that go in with this. Okay, so let me show you what we did. There is a part 1 out there if you guys didn't see it. So this is part 2. We went ahead and did the cover and covered it with material, and I've let that dry. My way of doing it's a little bit different than some other people's, is that I don't cut off the one portion of the little golden book. I go ahead and have a way of gluing that together so that you can use the whole cover, and then you don't have to cut your pages of your book, or you don't have to fold them. And in my opinion, it's actually easier this way in the long run, I think. You know, it's a couple extra steps in the beginning, but I think it all evens out in the end, and it takes about the same amount of time. But I think it's a little bit easier because you're not having to fold the pages or cut them or anything. Anyway, so this is how it turned out, and you'll notice we put the cardstock on top and the little twine, and you really can't even see it. It's pretty flat. You can see it a little bit, but it's not really noticeable. But you will notice that that makes the cover really stiff, and it doesn't bend, so it really works well. And on the back, so it really does a great job of you know, reinforcing the spine, and also making sure that the cover is stiff and it's not bending in the place that it would have been bending. Okay, so anyway, we've done that part. This is our cover. We have the material on. It's all nice and dry. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sew in our signatures. And I do 2 signatures on these books because there are 2 signatures of the books with the actual book, and that way I can keep the pages intact. I don't have to cut them or fold them, and also they can be in order. I put a few more pages than I normally put in a signature just because I'm only doing 2 signatures, and I usually do that too when I'm not decorating a journal, because then you know you don't have to worry about it being too bulky. So anyway, let me show you how I've done this. I have miscellaneous pages or papers here. Like this paper is done with food coloring, and it has some green and pink on there, and I put that in there. And you just basically are going to cut your pages down to where they fit inside. I actually cut these pages down to be the same size as the book pages because I'm kind of using them to work as a signature cover. Okay, I don't worry too much that all of my pages are perfectly aligned, because what I usually do is that I put on all of these little golden books, I'm going to put lace on here on the front and the back, and I will put some on some of the pages inside the book. And what that does is it covers up any little imperfections if they're not exactly perfect, or if they're sticking out a little bit. But basically what you do want to do is you do want to try and put your pages in, and not have any longer than what your actually pages in the book are. So I used this to give me an idea of the maximum size that I would need. Okay, and so then I cut my pages accordingly. Put this back in here, and then I think this was here. And let me show you how this works, how you would put them together, okay? You're going to have your book pages, and remember we numbered them when we did this. There's a reason for that. This is page 1, but the other half of page 1, if you look at it, is page 6, okay? So here's page 1, here's page 6. So when I put this in, I'm going to put it in like that because I wanted this to go here, right? So page 1 is going to be up here, page 6 is going to be in the back. And there's 6 pages in each signature, so there'll be 6 in this one and 6 in that one, okay? And then I wanted this on the outside. So basically what I did is I just took a bunch of different papers. This is paper from a paper pad that I had, and I do use some paper whenever I'm doing these books. I'll use paper from a paper pad, but I don't use thick paper because it makes your book too bulky. And I'm mainly doing it to add interest to this. And, you know, if we want to decorate these pages later, they're a little bit thicker than, you know, some of your other papers. And that works really well. Now, of course, they're, you know, 6 by 6. And I think these are like 6 by 7. And so, matter of fact, I don't know for sure what size they are. Let me check. These are going to be, I don't know. I kind of messed up my ruler a little while ago because I was cleaning it, and I think the cleaning solution I used took off some of the numbers, which I mean, it's still doable, but I'm not happy about that. These are like 6 3/4. So whenever you use your scrapbook paper, the widest they're going to be is 6 inches, but that's okay because you want different, you know, variations. And the only reason that my papers here are wide enough is that whenever I do coffee dyeing, I usually, or any kind of other dyeing I usually use legal size paper, and that way I have them wide enough. Now, I don't always use it. If I know that the book that I'm using, you know, isn't going to be that wide, like it's a traveler's notebook or something, then I won't do that. But if you use legal size papers, they can be wider. And I like that because I get the different variation in there too. So I did that. This is done with food coloring. This is just a scrapbook paper. Okay, so we put the 1 page in here, and of course that's going there. That's going to be toward the back. That's going to be toward the front. These are offshoots. When you cut down your scrapbook paper, you're going to have pieces left, and I always I'll put like 3 pieces on one, and then take the offshoots and put those on the other, and then I take the offcuts from the other, and then move it to the other. So I kind of mix it up a little bit. And so then I have that. This is just, you know, notebook paper. Here's some more of the scrapbook paper. This is a paper bag. When you put your paper bag in, you go like that. So here we have page 2. And of course, the back of page 2 is page 5. So you can see that's in there. So then I have this pink paper. That is food coloring dyed. And then here is an offcut of the paper that I used on the other side. Here's some graph paper. Here is some tracing paper. Here is another piece of scrapbook paper. I put a doily in there, so that would go in there. I've got some more lined paper. And then I've got another. I was really upset when I saw this. I didn't even realize this when I was doing this book, that they had crossed out some of the words. You can still read them, but I'm not really sure why they did that. I guess they just didn't like what that said or something. And then here's some more graph paper. Here's another offcut from the other paper. Here's some green paper, another square doily, and in the very middle I put an envelope, and this is an envelope that I made with my envelope punch. And if you don't have an envelope punch, I would say that's a good investment, because I use mine a lot. But anyway, if you don't have that, you can always take an envelope apart and then trace around it and cut it out. But anyway, I made this, and what I do there is that I am going to put that in here and leave it open, and I will go ahead and punch the holes through here, and then after that what will happen is then we'll close it up so you won't be able to see the middle of my signature. So this is going to be in the middle of my signature. So that's one side. Put all that in there. Okay, so that is about 20 pages, okay, which is usually about 5 more than I normally do, but when I don't put, when I don't decorate it or don't plan to, I will go up to 20, and that's really my max that I'll put in a signature. So anyway, so that's one, and here's the other one. I did that, so I have, you know, my food coloring dyed paper. I put in a page. This is some of my scrapbook paper, some tissue paper, another doily, some more lined paper. This is the offcut that was in the other, signature. So, and then I put that in there. Here's another piece. Here is some more of the book itself, part of a bag, graph paper, some more of the other paper. This is a glassine bag. This is some more of the book, and then an offcut line paper, another offcut, and then a doily and another envelope. So we're doing that. So those are the two signatures that we're going to put in. So those are our papers. They're all cut and ready to go. And then here is our cover, and it's all ready to go. So the way that I do these is I take a piece of paper, and basically what I do is I make it the same size of whatever my binding is. So this was 2 inches by, let's see, okay, this was 2 inches by, I don't remember what the height was on that. So 2 inches by approximately 8 inches. Okay, so we cut this out, and what I do is I will take that and I will fold it in half, exactly in half. Okay. So this is the same size as our spine. And remember, we're putting two signatures in. So that's the middle right there. Okay, so that's going to be the middle. But we're not going to, you know, if we had one signature, we would just put it in there and measure where we're going to punch our holes. But we have a total of 2 signatures. So you can do it 2 ways. You can measure and then put your holes in there, or you can do it this way. And I do this. I fold it in half. Fold your half that you have right here. Fold it in half. Get my button folder to help out there. I mean, to me, this is just the easiest way, and it also kind of tends to turn out straighter when I do it this way. But anyway, so you want to fold it in half. when you do these little golden books, you'll make a template and it'll work for all of them because they're all the same size. Okay, so then when you open it up, what's going to happen is you're going to have your middle, and then you're going to have your two sides, and it's going to be split perfectly. Okay, so then what you're going to do is then you're going to figure out where you want your holes, and this is going to be a 3 holes signature. So what I do is I find the middle, and that's what's good. This ruler, I'm just really so upset that I scraped off half of the numbers, but so because y'all probably can't see it that well, but in any case, you want to find the middle, and the way you do that is you get the 0, try and get it loaded up on the 0, and whatever leftover amounts you have on each side should be equal. So that's not going to line up right on the 4. It's going to be a little bit less on both sides. Okay, so the middle of this is going to be about right here. And get your pencil or whatever, and you're going to mark that. And then also you got to figure out where do you want the other holes to be. And usually you do those about 1 inch in. So if I do them equal on each side, they're going to be like that. Okay. And while I have my ruler here, I can go ahead and mark this on this side and mark this on this side. Now I could measure them, but I'm kind of eyeballing it. Okay. So that tells me where my holes are going to be. Okay. They're going to be here, 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 here. Okay. So now the reason you need the middle too is that is what you're going to use for your signatures. Okay. That lets you know to line up your signatures. And even though you measured these, you want to be able to pick one that's going to be the top or the bottom, because you will not get it perfect. And you want to make sure that you have them lined up the same. So like if you accidentally did it this way on one and then that way on the other, if it's off just the tiniest bit, it'll make your signatures off. So that's really the easiest way to me on how to measure those. Okay. And that's how I do it. And then you have your template, and you can use your template, you know, not only because you're going to punch your signature holes here, and then you're going to do your binding holes over here on these 2 sides. Okay, so you've got something that works for all of them. And I actually just take this template and I'll take it right over. I've got one that already has holes punched out that I use all the time. And like I said, once you have a template, you can reuse it till it falls apart. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is take my pencil and I'm going to mark on here, okay, because this fits the exact same size here. I'm going to mark on here where my holes are going to be for my signatures, okay? So there's one there, there's one there, and there's one there, and I'm going to do it on the other side. You have 2 signatures. Now the middle holes, those are for you to be able to do your actual signatures, because that's where the holes are going to be on your signature, okay? Make sure you can see the holes. Yeah, sometimes on these, I don't know, I don't do it, you know, dark enough and then you can't see it. But I don't like to do it too dark, because then I don't want to have a big old black mark on there either. So, okay, so that's where we're going to punch our holes on that. So I have my handy dandy little hole puncher thing, and then I use a pretty large size needle, just because to me it makes it easier, but you know, you can use whatever you want to. I use wax thread, and I'm running out of white, so, and we'll do that in a minute. First we're going to punch our holes in our signatures. Let me get that aside here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and punch my holes in here while I can see them. And I just take this and go just like that and kind of screw it in there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all the holes that it's right where we marked it. So we know it's going to be nice and straight. Okay, so those are our 6 holes that we need so we can sew in our signatures, okay? And so then we're going to take this and make sure we have the top where the top is. And we're going to get all of our papers exactly where we need them. Get some paper clips out here too. The paper clips get all bunched up sometimes. The big ones. Okay, so what I do is I kind of go like this, make sure they're all nice and even. And you're going to always find that some pages in the middle stick out a little bit, and that's just because of the way that they're stacked. And the more papers you have in your signature, the more that's going to happen. I don't worry about on this because what you'll see is how I do it when I put the lace on them. You won't even notice it when it's done. But I mean, some people will cut them off and make them perfect, but I don't worry about it. You won't notice it when we're all done. Okay, so then what you want to do is make sure, like all of your small offcuts, you want to kind of make sure that those are where you want them. Like if you want them exactly in the middle. I like to put some up higher and then some up lower is the way I like to do it. So I don't like them all to be, exactly in the middle. But you want to make sure that they're all positioned right where you want them. And part of the reason I do that too is I like the variation, but I also like to have at least 2 holes that punch through those. And if you put some on top and some on the bottom, then it'll do that. Okay, so this is going to go here because the other one was up higher. And then that's going to go there. That probably is going to stay in the middle, but I think maybe I'll make it go up a little bit higher. Let's see how high that can go. All right, and then this one, I think I'll leave that one in the middle. And then this one's gonna kind of go in the middle. Let me get that in the middle more. Okay, and then this will go like right here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, that I've got everything where I want it, I take paper clips. I have to do this like that. And I get it as far down as I can, and I put my paper clips right there. You want to make sure they get down as far as you can. You want to make sure that all these papers, because if you don't get it down tight, then what happens is there will be some of them will stick out quite a bit. So, all right, let me get that in there good. So you want to get those paper clips. You can use clips too, but I've come to like paper clips better. But whatever it is you want to do to keep them tight. And I find that the closer I get it to the middle, the tighter it usually is. So, okay. Let me get that. This one I think can go down a little bit. Let me make sure it's all nice in there tight. And you're still trying to keep everything where it's supposed to be. And you can go back and look one more time. Okay, so that's got it in there pretty good. So now that I've done that, I'm in a position to where I can punch my holes, okay? So, a lot of people use a book or a cradle or, you know, something like that. I usually don't. I usually just kind of hold it and do it. I do have one of those We Are Memory Keeper little punch hole things, but honestly, I found it was more trouble than it was worth. So I will take these, and now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to make sure I have the top where the top is. You know, like if I put this way and it's upside down, you wouldn't think that there would be that much difference since we measured it, but sometimes there will be. There'll be like just the tiniest little bit of difference, and then you'll do one way and one the other way, and then it won't work. So now that I've done that, I usually take another couple paper clips, and I'll kind of fold this in there, and I'll put this on that side. Just, this is my little template, and then I'll take the other side and I'll put one in over there. Now you could take your other paper clips off and put them back on, but I usually don't. So then anyway, I've got that in nice and tight, and then there's my middle, okay? So I'm going to try and keep this, okay, pretty tight like this, pretty bent. And that's why people, a lot of times they'll use a phone book, and that's to keep it like that. You know, I don't know. I guess I can see the pluses in doing that, but I don't normally do that, and I think it turns out pretty good. But, you know, you can try it that way. If you get a book and you put it in there, you open the thicker book and you put it in there, what that does is it keeps it tight while you're holding it. But I actually just like to hold it. So, like, see this? I get it down as close as I can. And also, too, the paper clips are holding it in place. So that's part of it, okay? So I kind of keep it a little bent like that. And what you're doing is now you're going to use the middle holes. You're not the two side holes. You're going to go through the middle holes. 1, 2, 3, okay? So I'm going to do the middle one first, and I keep it bent because if you don't, what'll happen is it'll go through part of the side of the paper. Okay, and you can see when I do mine, it's going straight down the middle. It's not going to the side, and that's the point in using a book. You're trying to keep it like that. But I feel like I do that with the paper clips, and I don't know. I just don't like adding another whole thing to it. To me, it's not necessary. Okay, so then I'm going to keep this kind of tight as I'm doing it again, and I'll put my hole in. Okay. And as you can see, it's right. That's what you want. You don't want your hole to come on this side or that side. That's what you're trying to avoid, okay? And then we're going to do it again over here. Keep it tight and make sure you get it right where it needs to be. And there we go. Okay. So those are my holes, and the point is you don't want them going to the side, you want them in the middle. Now, part of the reason I put the template on separate is then I can take those paper clips off, right? Keep my other paper clips intact, okay? Because I still keep this, you know, together, because what I'm doing is you want to keep it together until you sew it in the signature, okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll do the other one too. All right, that way, and then we'll sew it in. All right, so we're going to get our signature ready again, and let's go through here and look. Of course, I go like this. I go like this. And you'd be surprised how that really kind of shuffles things down there. Okay. So then I start looking at my papers this way. Okay, that's good. That's good. And this is the time too, if you want to move around things, you can move them around. So you're not committed till you sew it in. Okay, so maybe we're going to move this one down here more. Like that. That's good. I like that one. That's okay. And maybe we put this up a little bit higher. Make sure it's in the middle. And make sure this one's in the middle. Put this, I don't know which side we're doing that on. Okay. Put this one up here because the other one was down on the bottom, right? Okay, so let's see where we are. Okay, I think everything's kind of where I want it. So I'm going to fold this like that. I'm going to go like that. So this is my middle of my signature. And I'm going to take my paper clips, and like I said, I kind of keep it folded as I paper clip it because I'm trying to get the paper clip as far to the bottom as I can, and I use the longer side here. So I get it very close to the bottom. I usually go to the other side then, make sure it's in there nice and tight. And I'll put that in there. Okay, and then I usually go and I paper clip it again, but my paper clips are all stuck together for some reason. I go on the other side, make sure it's nice and tight, get it down there as far as I can. Okay, and I'm going to do it on this side, get it in there nice and tight. Okay, so now I've got it in there and it looks pretty good. Everything looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and punch my holes again, but I'm going to make sure, here's the top, okay? I'm going to make sure that I put the top where it says top. I'm going to put this down there and I'm going to fold it and try and get it as close to the side as I can. And I'll put a couple paper clips so it holds it in place. And I put them on opposite sides. I may not put 4 paper clips in, but I'll put 2 in. And that's so it doesn't slip while I'm trying to punch my holes, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch my holes. I usually always start with the middle, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go in the middle. I'm going to kind of keep it folded because if I don't, it could go out the side. The hole could end up kind of on the side, and we don't want that. Okay, so my hole went straight in the middle by keeping it kind of folded, okay? And then I'm going to do it over here, and I'm going to kind of keep it folded while I'm punching the hole. And as you can see, it goes right in the middle. We got one left. Keep it folded. So, see what I'm doing is I'm putting it in here and I'm trying to punch my hole, but if I did it just like that, it could go off to the side a little bit. If I keep it kind of folded as I'm punching it, what it does is it makes it go straight out the middle. So you don't have the hole going to either side a little bit. You don't want that. You want it straight in the middle, okay? So now that we've done that, we can take this paper clip off and that paper clip off, and your template, you can put that aside because your 2 signatures are ready to sew in, okay? Now I'm going to tell you something that I have done before, and I've done it multiple times. I have put in one signature upside down and then the other one. I have done the second signature in front and it's not in order, okay? So just make sure when you're doing this that you are paying attention to that. It doesn't seem like you could do that, but you can, all right? So we've got our 2 signatures here and they're ready to sew in. Now, I am going to add something to this, and you do not have to do this, and I would recommend if it's your first time doing this that you don't do it. But I add buttons to my thread, and that's kind of a little golden book thing that people do on the side. And I've got some buttons to the side here, and I'm just going to show you how I do it. rather than, and I kind of have them lined up the way I think that I'm going to want them, but you know, that certainly can change. So see, now they kind of got unlined up the way I had them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's one too many over there. Yeah, I think that's how that went. That's probably what happened right there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you kind of have them. I have my buttons kind of where I want them, okay? And you're going to see why in a minute. I'm going to put this aside. Okay, so this is signature number 1. Make sure it's in order, okay? Make sure that, you know, my pages are all going the right way, and make sure here. And also make sure that I'm putting the first signature in where the first set of holes are. I mean, if I put it back here, then it would be in the wrong spot. So you got to put it up here, okay? And the way I do it is I have my wax thread, and I will do my thread 3 times the length of my spine. Okay. I'll cut that. And what I always do is I take just a paper clip and I tie it on the end. Not a double knot, just a single. And that's to keep my thread from pulling through, because if I don't do that, I usually always pull my thread through. And I used wax thread. To me, it's easier. I have a really big needle. I've tried other ones, and I love this needle. Okay. To me, it's just easier to use because I can see what I'm doing. It has a little bit of a point. It's a little sharp, but not too sharp. And so it works pretty good. So anyway, so I'm going to take my first signature, and I've got it facing the right way. My book's facing the right way. I've got it in the first slots. And the way I do it is I go, let me get in the middle, make sure I'm in, take this, I kind of keep it folded. There's a reason why the paper clips stay on there, is because it honestly makes it super easy to do, I think. So then I put this, go through, and then I'm going to go through my middle hole of my first set of holes on my spine. Okay. Okay, so that's there, and I don't pull it really tight because you don't need to at that point, okay? Now, when you do these buttons, and like I said, you can skip the whole button part if you want to, and then I've seen people just glue the buttons on later too, but okay, so what happens is when you have these buttons, they're going to go here, and you're basically just does that go there? Why do we have that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe that goes here. And that goes there. I don't know. All right, we'll just do it that way. Okay, so this is the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and put this button in there. And when you have a 4-hole, you just go from one end to the other end. And you're not going to put these buttons, they're not going to be tight right off the bat. You're just going to kind of put, I'm going to do 3 and 3. 3 buttons on the bottom and 3 buttons on the top. Put those in there. Now see, I didn't check that. Look, see, this won't go through, but that's okay, because this thread will easily go through there, so that's not a big deal. I don't ever worry about that because it's very easy to thread with the wax thread. So I will just take the needle off and put that through there. And I don't know, that doesn't seem right. Okay, I'll just do it that way. We'll see. I feel like my buttons got out of order from the way I originally put them, but I can't remember how I did it. So, okay, so those 3 buttons are going to go there, right? And I will place them in their permanent space when I'm all done. I don't have to do that yet. So then I'm going to go ahead and rethread my needle. And you're going to find a lot of times your buttons won't go through the big fat needles like that. But if you use this thread, you can just take it off and thread it by hand and then do it. Okay, so there my buttons are. And then here's my top hole. And I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through my top hole now. Okay. Go right through that. And I should be able to go through my top hole of my signature that I've already punched. And you kind of leave it bent, because to me that is the easiest way to do this. Because what will happen is, if you don't do that, some of your pages will move, and it's a lot harder to thread it through. Okay. Now see, this envelope moved a little bit, and see how it's off to the side? So I got to make sure that my pages did not do that all the way through. And they did. So I got to make sure when you do this that you're not punching another hole, or because what'll happen is if you angle your needle a little bit, you'll end up putting a hole in a different hole, and it'll go off the side and it won't go in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and bend this a little bit and go through here and make sure I'm going straight down the middle. There we go. That's better. And then let me see where we're going. Okay, let me move this over. Okay. And sometimes when you do this, the reason you want a bigger needle too is that you can actually go through and pull your papers apart and then just kind of put them on. So I'm going to do that all the way through, one at a time. Make sure I'm going in the middle. And it doesn't always happen this way. Sometimes it goes right through, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so there we go. Now we're back through the middle. So now we've gone through, and we've gone through the middle. Okay, and I'm not worried about, let me move this up a little bit. I'm not worried about it going all the way through because I have my paper clip there. Okay, so now I need to go, all the way to the bottom. Okay, all right, let me pull that up a little bit. This wasn't pulling because my buttons are all the way to the top. Like I said, if you don't want to do these buttons, that's fine. I actually don't think it's that hard. When I first saw it, I went, oh my God, I don't need to add that stress, but it actually turns out cute and it's not that hard. All right, so then, and that's not necessarily where they permanently are either. I'm just doing that so I can pull my thread through. Okay, so now I have more thread to work with. So now I'm going to take this, and I've gone through the middle, I've gone through the top, through the back, and now I'm going to go through the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go through the bottom, and I fold it just to kind of make sure that I don't go off to the side. And see how easy that was? And then the other one was hard. Okay, so sometimes it'll be easy, sometimes it won't, but you still have to be able to, you want to always get the thread going right through the middle. You don't want it to go off to the side. Okay, so anyway, that is pretty much this side. Okay, so now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to take this, and it's going to go through the back through the middle again. But before I put it through the middle, I'm going to put my other buttons on there. Okay, so I had 3 other buttons, and I think I wanted to do, okay, let me see. We don't want to put the same one there. Okay, so this is the top, so we're going to do this one. And that one is not going to fit in there, so I have to do this. Okay, and then I'm going to do my green one. And I know that one won't fit either, so I'll put that in there. Right? And then I'll do my last one. And like I said, that you don't have to, this isn't necessarily putting them on there permanently where you want them. When you get all done, you can still move them around. So, all right, so there we go. That's that. Okay, so those are my buttons, and I'm just gonna kind of put them where I want them, but like I said, you can move them around later still. You have a little time. Okay, so now I'm going to rethread my needle because they wouldn't fit through the buttonhole. Put that through there. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take this, and it's going to go through the middle hole right there that I've already been through. Now this is very important. When you put it back through, you do not want to go through the thread that you already have there. If you do that, what will happen is when you go to tighten your threads in your signature, it won't tighten. And if you ever see a journal where the signature's loose, that's probably what they did, and they couldn't then go in and tighten their signature. So you're going to put it through here, okay, and not hit that thread. And the tricky part is you're going to do that. You're going to go through the middle hole of your okay, see, I went through the thread there on the other side, so I don't want to do that. Okay, see, that time I did not. And you don't want to hit the thread all the way through the rest of the signature. So we're going to go back through that hole. I hope you guys can see this. Okay, so I'm going to keep it bent, and I don't want to make a new hole. I want to go back through the original hole, and at the same time not go through that thread. I'm trying to do it to where you can see it. I hope I can. Okay, so we made it. I don't think it's gone through the knot. Hold on. Okay, so I've made it all the way through, and you can see I did not go through, I did not split that piece of thread there. If your needle is going through that thread, pull it back out and do it again, and you do not want this. You do not want that needle going through that thread, or you will not be able to tighten your signature, okay? So then you go all the way through, all right? All right, at this point, if you did it right, this should slide right off. And if you want long tails, you can leave them on there. If you did it right, what's going to happen is you should be able to tighten these, and that's where you can put your buttons where you want them. I usually try and put a button at the top of the hole, middle hole, just to kind of hide the holes a little bit. And when you go like that, it'll tighten, okay? If it's not tightening, then that means you split that thread somewhere probably, okay? I just make sure this is tight. Now this is important here. You want to make sure one of your threads is on the opposite side. You want them on opposite sides, okay? So this would go here, okay? And that's going to go there. And then you're going to go like this, and you're going to pull it tight. Okay, and that should give you a nice tight tight signature, okay? And then, I mean, if you want to, you can put this one on the other side too, but I don't usually mess with that. But anyway, go like that, tighten it up, twist it. So now it's nice and tight, okay? And then tie it. And I usually tie it 2 times. Okay, and that's it. All right, and this I'm going to go ahead and cut kind of small because I'm not leaving the strings long to add anything because they're going to be in the middle of this envelope. This envelope is going to end up going like this, and then you can put something in there. Okay, so that is my first signature that I put in there, and here's my buttons, and this is where you can take your buttons and put them where you want them. And like I said, usually what I do is I try and, you know, cover the middle hole a little bit, and then, you know, like see that one covers it and that one covers it, and then, you know, just wherever you think you want them, you can space them out where you want them. I mean, I don't, there we go. See, so that's where your buttons are going to go, and so that's kind of cute. All right, so there we go there. And then let me see what the time is, see if we can do the other one or not. I don't just have to see how far we went. Got about 10 more minutes. I think we can get it in that fast. We'll go ahead and try that, okay? Let me get a drink of water here. Just for practice, okay? Now, I'm probably not going to explain it as much this time. That way you can just see me do it. That way we can get it done, but you can just kind of watch, okay? All right, so I've got my other signature. Big thing, I'm telling you, I've done this so many times. And usually part of it is because usually right now I'm doing 6 of these books. So I'll do 6 at a time, and I'll be doing them and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. And it'll just, one will be in upside down or something. Oh my gosh, that's just so frustrating. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go ahead and do this, and let me get my thread. So we're going to go one, two, three. All right, and then I tie my paper clip. I can't even tell you how important this is to me to do that, because I know a lot of people don't, but my thread has gone all the way through so many times. It's so frustrating, and it's such an easy thing to do. Okay, so we're going to do this thread or needle here. Okay, so anyway, then got our signature, got that's the right way, this is the right way. So we're going to start in the middle. So I take the middle, I kind of keep it bent so it goes all the way through, right? Put that in, go all the way through, all right? And then what I'm going to do is pick my buttons out. I'm only doing 3 buttons because I'm only doing one side. I'm going to go back up to, you can go to the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. You know, people will tell you, do the top first, do the bottom. It doesn't make any difference because you're going to go back. So whatever it is you want to do. Okay, so I think I'm probably, I don't know what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll just try these. No, actually, I want to do these on the top. So this is going to go that way. All right, we'll do these. Okay, so I'm going to have to take that off. I think I'll probably use this one. No. All right. Anyway, the important thing when you do these is that you don't put too many on too, because the first time I did it, I thought, oh, you have to have buttons going all the way up and down, and they ended up overlapping, and you just want to put a few just to decorate it. I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, you can do what you want to do. I'm just telling you that I really did overdo it, and that was just, you know, probably not wise. Anyway, I put way too many buttons on them. I mean, I had buttons just going all the way up and down, and it just, when I tightened it up, they didn't look, I mean, it didn't look bad. It just didn't look that good. I'll be honest with you. Okay, so that's going to go there. And I think I really want another blue one on top. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that on top. Okay. I had this all spaced out, and then somehow the buttons got moved or hit or something, and they're kind of messed up. And you guys, there are lots of tutorials out there on Little Golden Books, and I am certainly not an expert, but this is just how I do it. And then I think my first one, I made it look harder than it was, just because I hadn't done it in a while, and I forgot how to do. I mean, you just get out of. I probably did easily 25 Little Golden Books at Christmas, and then I had done some before because people were asking me for them, and oh gosh, I'll never do that again. That was just too much. Okay, so all right, so now we're gonna go up to the top. And like I said, you can go through the top or the bottom, whatever you want to do. It doesn't make any difference. You're just not going to go through the middle again yet, okay? I keep it bent, and you've already got your hole punched. And all you're trying to do is go back to the same hole. Now see how easy that was? And remember when the other one, how it was kind of hard to go in and out? It's just, sometimes it's just, it really has a lot to do, I think, with keeping it bent enough, keeping the paper clips in. Okay, so then we're going to go through there. All right, so we've done that. And now what we have, now see how that paper clip kept it from going all the way through? If that paper clip wasn't there, this would have gone all the way through, and then I'm starting over again. So just saying. All right, so now I'm going to take this, and now I'm going to go to the bottom, okay? So, or the top, depending upon where you started, okay? It doesn't matter. You're just going either to either one. Keep it kind of bent, and that way you can go right through that hole. All right, and then we're going to go through the other hole. Come out here. All right. What did I get caught on? Did I get caught on something? I feel like I did. Let me see. Where are we? Where's my green paper clip? Okay, there it is. Yeah, it did. Hold on. Got caught on here. That's what's going on. Okay, so now I'm in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my other buttons on. And like I said, you're not putting these on permanently where they're going to be until you're all done. But this is just you're putting them in the order that you want them. So let's see, this is going to be on top. So I'm going to put this, am I going to put the bigger one on top? Okay, and we're going to put the little green one in the middle. And you don't have to put the buttons on, like I said. It's just kind of a little golden book thing that people do, and it's really not that hard. If you do it, you'll find that it's a lot easier. All you're doing is, if I didn't have the buttons on, I would have threaded through and went through the middle. Well, you're just looping the buttons on there and then later putting them in place. That's all you're doing. Okay, and then we're going to put this back through here. Okay, so now now this is the part that's a little tricky. Not hard, but a little tricky. You want to make sure that you are not going through that thread. So we're going to go through that hole right there. Okay. Hope y'all can see that. You're going through there and not going through the thread. And now here's the tricky part. You're trying to get through this part here. And sometimes it's not at all. Sometimes it's easy. So let's see. Hopefully maybe we'll get lucky here. Yep, look how easy that was. Okay, so that went all the way through the middle. And it did not split the thread. That's the most important thing. Make sure it didn't. Yeah, it didn't. Let me take my paper clip off of there so y'all can see that. If I can get the paper clip off. Usually it comes right off. Yeah. Okay, and that's the beauty too of working with the wax thread. Okay, so this went all the way through and it did not split that, which I'm telling you is really important. I didn't really figure that out till later. People would say not to do it, and I didn't understand why. And then till later, I thought, well, whenever you do that, you can't tighten your thread, and that's what causes the loose journals that you'll see sometimes. Okay, so you can go like that. Let's make sure it's kind of tight. Yeah, those are tight. And then you want to crisscross, make sure one goes one way and one goes the other way. And the reason you're doing that is that actually helps pull the thread tight. Okay, there we go. And then this is going to go here. I could have left that a little longer but to work with, but oh well. So you're going to have them go opposite and tighten it up. There we go. Make that a little shorter to work with. Okay, and 1 and 2. All right, and take the paper clips off. All right, you are done. You have basically And then you can put your buttons where you want them. See, now that it's nice and tight, you just move your buttons where you want them. That's why you don't have to worry. You want it tight, but you don't have to worry exactly. So there's our buttons on the side. See how cute those are? And then here is our book. And we've got our 2 signatures in there. They're nice and even. They're not sticking out. This is the envelope right here. We're going to cut that in there. But then anyway, we have pretty much done our book. That's it. And it really was not that hard. Okay? So that is how I do them. And to me, you know, I think I made this seem a little bit more difficult than it was, but it's not. It really isn't. But to me, it's super easy putting in that the little twine and then the paper on top. And then that way you're not, if you look at this book, you're not folding the pages. And also, if you do the 2 signatures like that, and you do it like they're all in order, all the pages are in order, and they're, you know, that's it. Because, I mean, you know, page number 12 is right here, right? So you'll see that right here. Here is page number 12, okay? And that's how it works. Okay, guys? So that was it. And you guys have a nice day and enjoy your crafting time. And I'll see you next time.